Better Call Saul is by far my favourite TV show, and I've previously made a review analysing the brilliance of the episode Bagman. But today, I shall be reviewing the next episode in the series, Bad Choice Road. So with that being said, and without further ado, let's jump right back into this. The episode begins with a split-screen montage showing both Saul's journey through the desert and Kim trying her very best to cope with the situation. This sequence mirrors a montage from Season 4. The original montage utilizes the cover song Something Stupid by Lola Marsh, with the lyrics perfectly encapsulating everything about Kim and Saul's relationship. As stated in my previous review, their relationship isn't one note. It's complicated, and that's always been why it feels so realistic. They have fantastic chemistry, they have so much in common, they are so incredibly similar in personality, and yet so different at the same time. And despite sharing the same occupation, their goals have never aligned. And that's exactly the point of this montage in Season 4, to show the firm divide that we've seen since the beginning of the show. Kim on one side gaining achievements through her hard work and dedication, and Saul on the other side working on building his practice as a criminal lawyer, and caving into that alter ego of his that we've seen in Breaking Bad. All of this delivered with spectacular visual storytelling as we see each side perfectly in sync with each other, yet on complete opposite ends, the two sides of a coin. And even when the couple are together, there still remains to be a divide between them. So close together, yet so far apart. And in the sequence from Bad Choice Road, they could not be further apart. This of course made obvious in the visuals on both sides, but it's also told through the audio, with the song this time being the instrumental cover of Something Stupid, which is only exemplifying that sense of distance and isolation. Saul forced to travel through the desert with Lalo's bail money, and Kim forced to stay in the apartment, as getting the authorities involved will only guarantee Saul's death. All seems hopeless for both sides. Until... So now that Saul has phone service, he straight away phones Kim, the two of them incredibly relieved to hear each other's voices again. It's very bittersweet, very to the point, and establishes the tone very well for the events that shall arise later. We then cut to the iconic intro, which I loved recreating for this video. And after that, we see Mike and Saul at a gas station. They have finally returned to civilization. And whilst the task of grueling through the desert is now over, the consequences of what went down out there are far from over. But for now, they're getting a lift back to Albuquerque from Gus Fring's closest employees, Tyrus and Victor. On the journey back, Mike says to Saul,
"Don't go to sleep yet. We gotta work on your story."
Keep that one noted. It's going to be echoed quite a few times in this episode. But anyway, the very first thing Saul does when they reach Albuquerque is drop off Lalo's bail money. And once he's out of prison, there will be a perfect opportunity to strike. All going according to Fring's plan. The whole $7 million is counted, Lalo is then of course released, and Saul explains a slightly altered version of how he got back with the money, so that Lalo isn't as cautious moving forward.
It's not that far back to the main road. You didn't just hitchhike?
Broke down about 6 miles from the pickup site. You know there's no cell reception out there, right? I didn't think it was worth the risk. I walked north. Probably not the smartest move, but after a night lost in the desert, I made it.
Well, that was the right call.
Lalo also lets Saul know that the business between the two of them shall continue in the future, only further cementing how far in the game Saul is. Now before Lalo takes off, he lets Saul know that he's very much aware of who Kim is, as she went to him out of desperation and fear for Saul's life. This will place tremendous consequences for the end of the episode, and I'm looking forward to analysing that. But for now, let's talk about Lalo, because he is one of my favourite villains of all time. I would put his character in the same camp as Irvin from Mr. Robot and Lorne Malvo from Fargo. They have a very cool and humorous factor to them, but they are still very psychopathic and very much a threat to the characters in universe. And the fact that they can shrug off all these villainous actions only makes them more threatening.
Now I want you to imagine your mom, Trudy, in fight. Damn, I'm gonna need verbal confirmation that you're grasping the details of this agreement!
How the hell are you? I'm gonna sign you a copy.
Please don't hurt us.
Why would I hurt you?
But I saw you butcher Santiago with an axe when he got out of line.
Yeah. That was fun.
You let a man beat you in front of his children to send them a message?
No, that's not... Heck, you're so sure about it. Maybe you should just kill him for me.
You're asking me to kill this man.
No, that was... I was joking.
So I was wondering if there's maybe something that, my friend missed.
I showed him everything I've got.
Show me what you showed him.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Sure.
4th Street. Nearest cross street is Lomas. Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
Who's that?
It's gotta be his family. Fred Whalen. The guy who died at the travel wire.
And I just love the fact that these TV shows are returning to the roots of these more traditional villains, because I've never been too keen on these sympathetic villains being masked as emotionally complex. I much prefer these cool characters that are just pure evil. It makes them so much more entertaining to watch, but they also force me on the edge of my seat. And that is exactly what a classic villain should be. But anyway, let's get back on track. Saul is now reunited with Kim. She runs him an oatmeal bath, and Saul straight away mentions that he doesn't want her to go anywhere near Lalo. And Kim is then fed the exact same story that Saul told to Lalo, as he of course doesn't want her to go through any more trauma. However, Kim checks the bag of money. She sees Saul's cut of $100,000 and also discovers the world's second best lawyer flask, but with a bullet hole in the middle of it, clearly indicating that there's more to this story. Keep this one noted as well. And after that scene, we jump to Mike and Gus over at Los Pueblos Hermanos, discussing the orchestrated Colombian gang attack and confirming the details. And Mike also mentions Nacho Varga and how he deserves to get out of the game. But I shall discuss this further in a future review where it shall be more fitting. But moving along, later in the episode, Saul is still recovering in the apartment, but pretends that he's heading out to help a random client. Kim then confronts him knowing that he's lying.
Jimmy, look, I know you're lying. And I know something terrible happened in the desert.
And Saul, yet again, only tells a portion of the story. So the next couple scenes are showing Kim at her fancy job over at Schweikart and Coakley, and that is being contrasted with Saul's day at the courts. The two of them struggling quite a bit, with Saul, who's usually on top of the world with his performances, now performing very poorly in court.
Just so you know, I don't think any less of you. You're still a lawyer.
And Kim, who makes the very rash decision to quit Schweikart and Coakley. And as I pointed out earlier with the Something Stupid montage, Kim has really proven herself to be an excellent, trustworthy lawyer, and has worked extremely hard to obtain all these well-deserved achievements. But now she's taking a different road. Partly because she's being selfless by wanting to help clients who are legitimately struggling, but it also partly comes down to her flushing all these achievements down the toilet in favour of following Saul's pathway, becoming more morally corrupt and wanting to harm those near her. The divide between the pair is slowly going away once again, but not for the reasons that Saul or us the viewer wants there to be, but rather the Saul Goodman criminal lawyer alter ego having a bad influence on Kim and thus leading her to make decisions that she otherwise wouldn't make. Now after Saul is done with his rather terrible day at the courts, he gets into Mike's car and wishes to discuss how he can cope with everything that went down.
You said this goes away, so what's the time frame on that?
It's different for different people, I suppose. One day you're gonna wake up, eat your breakfast, brush your teeth, go about your business. And sooner or later, you're gonna realize you haven't thought about it. It all gets easier.
And after Mike responds to Saul's question, he moves on to talk about how it was either them or us.
What happened out there doesn't bother you?
Them wanting to steal the $7 million didn't work for me. Not to mention, they wanted to shoot you in the head. It was them or it was us, cut and dried. They were in the game.
Which is something that is very in line with Saul's character given the whole wolves and sheep philosophy that he's carried throughout being a con man and being a lawyer. However, Saul isn't pure evil in the same way that a character like Lalo is, and he certainly has a lot of empathy. After the events of Breaking Bad, he's forced to run, change his identity to Gene Takovic, and goes on to live a normal life with a normal job and be friendly with other people. And this demonstrates that there's still a very human side to him. And even though he's gone down a road of doing a lot of bad things, there's still always glimpses of that good person buried in him somewhere. And that is why he responds to Mike with the very fair question of,
What about Fred from Travel Wire? Was he in the game?
There was a lot wrong with what happened there.
Yeah, Lalo. Lalo killed that guy. And for what? He killed that guy and we're helping him.
It's not the end of the story.
As I've already said, Gus has some other plans to take care of Lalo. Even though it would seem like Saul is helping the wrong person in the situation, it's all a part of a bigger picture. But the fact that Saul is so against Fred, an innocent human being, completely detached from the situation, being caught in the crossfire, speaks volumes to just where he draws the line. Even though he is very morally corrupt and has screwed over so many people, there is still so much to like about Saul. That's what makes him such an endearing character, and to me, that's one of many reasons why he's the best character. In the scene directly after, we see Nacho and Lalo travelling to the edge of the border. They go to the same location where Saul picked up the 7 million, and Lalo is waiting for the twins to pick him up and take him across the border. But he has a change of mind.
All four?
Just do it. Oh, let me out here, let me out here.
He then spots Saul's car, which has been pushed off the road. He jumps down, and much like Kim earlier, he spots a bullet hole. And now with there literally being holes in Saul's story, Lalo and Nacho head right back for Albuquerque. Back at the apartment, Kim breaks the news to Saul over quitting her job.
Leaving Schweikert, I get that. It's a bunch of stuffed shirts, but Mesa Verde, hey, that's like leaving the Yankees to play the amateur ring toss.
No, it's not. I'm leaving something that makes zero difference in the world to help people who are actually in need.
This is a bad idea.
What?
Look, we all make choices, right? And those choices, they put us on a road. And the road has good choices and it has bad choices. And this is a bad choice road.
And after that fruitful discussion, Saul gets a call.
Listen to me. Put your phone down, leave it on so I can hear.
So you can hear what?
Do what I said right now. Put it down. Somewhere it can't be seen.
Jimmy.
Lalo then steps into the room, and even though Saul has told his story, Lalo wants to hear it again.
Tell me again.
What?
Tell me again.
The scene up to this point contains no music, but then that thud hits, and the unnerving soundtrack trickles on. something which both of these series have excelled at executing. Saul proceeds to retell the story.
I picked up the money from those two fine gentlemen. My car broke down after about, just 10 minutes. There was no phone service, and I was afraid to hitchhike because of how much money was. And I ran out of water, so I had to drink my own pee. I'm not sure what you're looking for here, but there you go.
Lalo is still not satisfied. Kim steps in, but is immediately silenced. As Saul yet again tells the story, we see a scope on Lalo, as Mike is revealed with his M40A1 bolt-action sniper rifle. But this time round, there's no need for any bullets to be fired, not when Kim Wexler is the smoking gun.
Okay.
Are you kidding me with this? Do you know what he did for you? $7 million of your money. He hauled it across a damn desert without one penny missing. And he got you out of jail for a murder that, let's face it, you're definitely guilty of. What do you want?
Lalo then responds with what he saw.
I found his car in a ravine. Bullet holes on the side. So I'm just waiting to hear how that happened.
And Kim, with her brilliant lawyer skills, instantly fires back with a simple theoretical reason.
Look, I don't know what it's like where you're from, but here in New Mexico, you leave a soda can out, someone's taking a shot at it. That's what you're on about.
She has always been a very powerful character in this show, and her going up against a very threatening individual only demonstrates her confidence further. And it doesn't stop there. She even goes ahead and insults Lalo's whole operation.
What kind of operation are you running, anyway? Because I think I know why you sent him to do this job. You have no one else you can trust. You need to get your house in order.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. If you don't trust your men with your money, you have bigger problems than if you trust Saul Goodman. Get your together and stop torturing the one man who went through hell to save your ass.
And that right there is a mic drop. Lalo exits the apartment, and that concludes Bad Choice Road. My oh my, what a fantastic episode of television. And whilst it's not my personal favourite episode of the show, it's easily second place. Through the very limited action but extremely heavy dialogue scenes, it perfectly captures the aftermath of all the events in Bagman, and highlights a lot of where our characters stand in this story. It highlights Saul's line when it comes to morality, it highlights Kim's breaking point, and it highlights Lalo being defeated. All three of these characters at one point or another behave wildly differently from the way they've been presented throughout the majority of this show. But with subtle writing, superb direction, and amazing acting, this was all achieved brilliantly. And in a lot of ways, this marks the beginning of the end. Thank you for watching.